Mouse and the Nazi Holocaust. Mouse is the word of the white art Spiegelman that contains approximately 296 pages, published in two parts between 1980 and 1991. In the magazine Raw, in its first part, My Father Bleach's History, 1986, and Here My Troubles Began, 1991, unable later, and a single work, one of the most important prizes that this work has obtained is the Pulitzer in the year of 1992, that has a central subject, the story of the cruelty that the Nazis committed in the development of the Second World War on the Jewish people. In the second chapter, named The Honeymoon, begins with a story of a discussion that her parents had as a result of a friendship of Anja with a communist who was not liked by Vladek and disputes Anja in troublemaking. Mr. Stefanska suffraged herself and spent 3 months in prison, and Anja's father had to pay him a monetary reward for the favor received. Vladek's father-in-law decided to set up a textile factory in Bielsko, so that his grandchildren would not have needs in the future. By October 1937, Vladek and Anjan's first son, Richie, was born and would not survive the coming war. After a short time, while Vladek was living in Bielsko because of the factory, he had to return to Sosnowiec because Anja was suffering from an apparent postpartum depression. For this reason, Vladek and Anjan's family decided that it is correct to travel together to Czechoslovakia to a sanatorium. While they were in the train towards the sanatorium, they passed by a city where a Nazi flag was waved, and it is inside where the passengers describe the first samples of mistreatment that the Jews received on the part of the Nazis. Finally, they arrived at the sanatorium that had very beautiful locations where they enjoyed several nights of dancing and mutual affections, as in the honeymoon lasting 3 months, there generating a positive change in Anja. After 3 months, they returned to Sosnowiec and meet Anja's father, who tells Vladek that in his absence the factory was looted. Although Vladek himself helps in to rebuild it, and also helps him to settle in Bielsko after a few months after the death of the factory. Already being in Bielsko organized, they begin to observe disturbances generated by the Nazis. For the 24th of August, almost a year later, they received a letter where they recruited Vladek for the war. For this same reason, he decides that Anja should return to Sosnowiec, while he takes an opposite direction. In the final part of the chapter, there is a transfer of time to the present where Black is with his son, and he tells his son Artie that on September 1, 1939, the war broke out again, and he was at the front. Then Vladek throws away his medicines and tells his son that he needs surgery because he has cataracts, where he was taken to the hospital to be operated by a very good specialist. He was operated by another specialist who placed in his left eye and glass eye, and the wood work done later review by a new specialist did not notice any difference from the eye to the one that was glass. After telling the story, they decided to end their conversation to find each other tired. From my perspective, in relation to the work, the central axis revolves around criticism, where through caricatures the characters are represented in order to recall and highlight the atrocious acts committed by the German government of Adolf Hitler, the Gestapo secret police, and the Wehrmacht defense force on the Jewish people during the Second World War. This war began in 1939 and ended in 1945. That is to say, it lasted 6 years, where the Nazis believed that to finish with all the Jewish people was the final solution to exterminate and import an inferior race. It is worth mentioning that the author illustrated the Nazis with cows and the Jews with mice to express or make known to the reader the constant hand to which the Jewish people were subject.